What is up, YouTube? This is Jay Wolf, and how are you doing? I'm glad you guys are back, and I have an interesting video for you today. Got my cup of coffee, got on my web browser, and one of the first stories I saw was just so bold, was so right. I had to share it with you. I mean, this is some hard-hitting coverage right here by USA Today by Doily Rice. So let's get right into this. Study finds a race gap in air pollution. Whites largely cause it. Blacks and Hispanics breathe it. Blacks and Hispanics disproportionately breathe air that's been polluted by non-Hispanic whites. According to the study, this new research quantifies for the first time that racial gap between who causes air pollution and who breathes it. Pollution is disproportionately caused by whites, but disproportionately inhaled by blacks and Hispanics, minorities, the study said. Poor air quality remains the largest environmental health risk in the United States, the study warns. In fact, with 100,000 deaths per year, more Americans die from air pollution than car crashes and murders combined. Oh my. Even though minorities are contributing less to the overall problem of air pollution, they are affected by it more, said study co-author Jason Hill, an engineering professor at the University of Minnesota who is white. Is it fair that I create more pollution and somebody else disproportionately affected by it? Hill said that while the air in the U.S. has gotten cleaner the past decade, pollution inequality has remained stubbornly high. What is especially surprising is just how large pollution inequality is and has been for well over a decade, Hill said. Oh no. The type of pollution analyzed in the study is known as PM 2.5, tiny grains of particulate material that are especially dangerous to human health because they can get deep into our lungs. Those particles are at 2.5 micrometers, far smaller than the width of a human hair, are produced by car tailpipes, power plants, smokestacks, and burning materials. The studies found that blacks and Hispanic Americans bear a pollution burden. Oh no. Blacks are exposed to about 50% more pollution than is caused by their consumption. For Hispanics, it's slightly higher at 63%. Oh my. However, non-Hispanic whites experience pollution advantages, meaning they breathe about 17% less air pollution than whites cause. What frickin' white people? The formula scientists used in their study is driven by disparities in the amount of goods and services that groups consume and in the exposure to the resulting pollutions. On average, whites tend to consume more than minorities. It's because of wealth, Hill said. Dang rich white people. For example, the scientists found that whites spend more money on pollution intensive goods that serves than do blacks. I think they had a glitch there because it says intensive goods and services than do blacks and Hispanics, which means they generate more pollution than the other groups do. Oh my. So all this pollution we produce, we're horrible. Someone had to make the pen you bought at the store, said study co-author Julian Marshall, an engineer professor at the University of Washington. We wanted to look at where the pollution associated with making that pen is located. Is it close to where people live? And who lives there? For this study, the category non-Hispanic whites also includes Asian Americans and Native Americans. This is based on the source that the researchers used government data on personal expenditures from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Other experts agreed with the research. These findings confirm what most grassroots environmental justice leaders have known for decades. Whites are dumping their pollution on poor people and people of color, said Texas Southern University Public Affairs Professor Robert Bullard, who was not part of the research. Bullard, often called the father of environmental justice, is African American. Researchers say the pollution inequality formula could be used on other types of environmental burdens. The approach we established in this study could be extended to other pollutant locations and groupings of people. Marshall said, when it comes to determining who causes air pollution and who breathes that pollution, this research is just the beginning. The study was published on Monday in the peer-reviewed journal Proceeding of the National Academy of Science. Man, dang those white people. Dang those evil white people. But can we just go back 1 minute? Because they're wanting to use this study, right, from here on out to gauge inequality and pollution inhalation by American citizens. And see, this is something that liberals do a lot. It's called burying the lead. Let's go back to where it says someone had to make you make that pen you bought at the store, said co-author Julian Marshall, an engineer professor at the university. See, that's the trigger sentence. They say that. They give her all her prestige. We want to look at where the pollution associated with the making that pen is located. Is it close to where people live and who lives there? What she's trying to do is get your emotions up in that writing so that you skim over the next part, which tells you what the study is based on, right? Mind you, in this next paragraph is the lead. For this study, the category of non-white Hispanics or non-Hispanic whites also includes Asian Americans and Native Americans. This is based on the source of the research used, government data and personal expenditures from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Since when are Asians and Native Americans considered white? And I mean, first of all, white people make up like 62 or 70-something% of the U.S. population. Native Americans, I think, make up like another 3% or something like that. And then you have other, which is like so much percent. And then you have Asians, which is like, I think, 10 or 15% or something like that, or 6% or 7% there, around there. So you put all those groups together, you got over like 70 or 80% of the U.S. population they are now trying to consider white. And they're saying that 80% of the population buys more products than a smaller amount of the population. Well, duh, genius. You needed all that science to figure that out? That more people buy more stuff than less people? And that their particular group would literally be inhaling more pollution produced by those products because there's less of them? These people are engineers. They are engineers, and they can't even see common dang sense. That's ridiculous, people. This is what liberals do. They hide a bunch of rhetoric in a study. And now they want to take this study, and they want to use it to figure everything else out. Well, if you're constantly calling Asians and non-Hispanics, Asians and Native Americans non-Hispanic whites, well, yeah. You're going to get a lot of disproportional things. See, the reason they keep trying to include Asians in the white grouping now is because Asians do better at business than white people do. Asians do better at school than white people do. Asians are richer than most white people are. And that's a true statement when it comes to when you look at statistics. So they want to lump the Asians in with the whites so that they could say, oh, those rich, mean white bastards. And the Asians are going, excuse me? My grandpa was from China, dude. You know? This is absurd. I mean, when you see what they do, and see, people only read half of these articles half the time, or they skim over things, and they don't notice and see what they're doing, and they hide it in plain sight. The liberals hide in plain sight the immoral, brutish, bullyish, lying, despicatory tactics that they use to try to brainwash the populace into believing bullshit science. And that's exactly what it is. Bullshit science. You don't have to be a college graduate or even a high school graduate to look at that article and see how skewed it is. First, you're going to say all white people include Asians and Native Americans. Then you're going to turn around and say that, oh, well, a bigger percent of the population buys more than a smaller percent of the population. Well, duh. Well, duh. They spend more, which means that it's produced more for them by your studies rhetoric. And since it's produced more for them because they buy more, well, then it's their fault that the black people are inhaling these fumes. Or these materials. I forgot the name of it. That's ridiculous. That's absurdity in its biggest. I just can't believe how they work. I wanted to get that up though quick because this article just went like an hour and a half ago. It just came out on. It just got posted on my wall on the Google search, and I read it, and I had to get it to you guys. But something else I wanted to think about, they in there, I wanted to go back to it real quick, because they say that pollution is the biggest environmental concern, and it kills over 100,000 people a year in America, right? Okay, understandable. That's pretty scary, and we need to do something about the environment. I wholeheartedly agree with that part of liberal rhetoric. We need to get our environment in order. But something that bugs me is they mentioned that it kills more than murders. Well, murders include shootings. I hope you guys know that. So they literally put a statistic in there, again, bearing another lead on another issue, that smog kills more people each year than guns. Okay? Just some more food for thought. Smog kills more people each year than guns. But guns are so dangerous. Oh my God. Anyways, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. I have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/jwolf35. I'd appreciate any likes, subscribes, anything like that. Thank you guys so much, and God bless.